He thought he was just finishing another late shift. No spotlight, no drama, just a tired waiter heading home after helping a wealthy customer who'd had too much to drink. But within hours, his name was smeared, his job gone, and his future ripped away. What he didn't know was that this single act of kindness would pull him into a secret battle against power, prejudice, and lies, and that the truth, once revealed, would change his life in a way no one could have imagined. How does a night that begins with compassion end with a man owning a restaurant? David Carter wasn't famous. He wasn't rich. But in the upscale dining rooms of Manhattan's Hannah Terrace, he was known for something far rarer: genuine kindness. A black waiter in one of the city's most exclusive Japanese restaurants, David worked double shifts without complaint, greeting every guest with the same warmth. Whether they were a first-time visitor or a billionaire hotel magnate, it was a life of routine, polishing glassware until it gleamed, memorizing intricate menus, and making sure every plate left the kitchen flawless. The job wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills and gave him pride, until one quiet night turned it all upside down. That night, as the city skyline glittered beyond the restaurant's windows, a wealthy regular sat at the bar, swaying ever so slightly, her drink untouched for too long. David noticed. He didn't know it yet, but stepping forward to help her would set off a chain of events. Lies, betrayal, and a fight against something far bigger than a single lost job. David had seen Isabella Grant before. She was the kind of guest people whispered about. A billionaire hotel owner whose name carried weight in boardrooms and society pages. That night, she sat alone at the bar, her head tilting slightly, one hand gripping the edge of the counter. David approached with quiet concern. "Let me help you to your car," he offered gently, making sure she had her coat and purse. Outside, the night air was sharp, the city's hum wrapping around them as he guided her toward the curb. She stumbled once, laughing it off, and David steadied her without hesitation. He called a car, helped her inside, and returned to the restaurant without thinking twice. But by morning, everything had changed. His manager, Richard Coleman, summoned him into the office. The words hit like a punch. "We've had a complaint." "Isabella," he claimed, said David behaved inappropriately. The story twisted reality, painting his act of care as harassment. David's protests meant nothing. Coleman's tone was final, his expression smug. A termination letter was slid across the desk, and just like that, his career at Hannah Terrace was over. What David didn't know was that Coleman had been quietly replacing Black and Latino staff for months, claiming customer preference while filling the floor with white servers. Those who spoke up were moved to back-of-house roles or let go entirely. David had just become the latest casualty. He packed his things under the gaze of coworkers who dared not speak. The shame was heavy, but heavier still was the sense that this wasn't just about him. This was something bigger, systemic, deliberate. 2 days later, his phone buzzed. An unknown number. Isabella's voice, steady but serious, came through. She hadn't accused him at all. In fact, she hadn't even been drunk. She'd been watching, testing. She'd seen the way Coleman hovered when Black staff approached wealthy customers, the way opportunities vanished after incidents no one could prove. She told David she had evidence, emails, HR records, even recordings. But exposing someone as entrenched as Coleman would take more than just her. David's pulse quickened. He thought of the coworkers pushed aside, the bills piling up, the silent fear on the faces of those still working under Coleman. This wasn't just about clearing his name, it was about tearing down a system that thrived on quiet prejudice. He agreed to meet her. What he didn't know was that stepping into this fight would not only cost Coleman his career, it would also hand David an opportunity he never dreamed possible. The boardroom was all glass and steel, the kind of place where power felt permanent. Around the long table sat executives in tailored suits, murmuring over quarterly reports, until Isabella walked in with David at her side. Conversations stilled. Coleman's confident smile flickered, but only for a moment. Isabella didn't waste time. She placed a thick folder on the table and pressed play on a small speaker. Coleman's voice filled the room, calm, calculated, ordering HR to phase out Black and Latino staff from front-of-house positions. Another clip followed him laughing about customer optics and keeping the floor looking right. The room shifted. A few executives avoided eye contact. Others stared at Coleman as if seeing him for the first time. Isabella slid printouts across the table, emails, staffing charts, performance reviews, all painting the same picture. A deliberate purge disguised as business decisions. Coleman's voice cracked as he tried to spin it, blaming misunderstandings and isolated incidents. But then came the final blow, a video from a security camera. It showed David helping Isabella to the car, steady, respectful, no trace of misconduct. The lie that had cost him his job dissolved in front of everyone. Silence. The CEO leaned forward, voice low but deadly. "Pack your things." Coleman's face drained of color. Years of authority, gone in a heartbeat. David sat still, absorbing the moment. This wasn't just vindication. It was exposure. The quiet prejudice that had worked behind closed doors was now laid bare for all to see. But as they walked out of that room, Isabella turned to him with a small, knowing smile. "Now," she said, "let's talk about what comes next." What she was about to offer would change everything, not just for David, but for everyone who had been pushed aside before him. Weeks after Coleman's fall, a new sign went up in Harlem, Shinrai, meaning trust in Japanese. The name wasn't chosen by a marketing team. It was chosen by David. Isabella had made him co-owner, with one condition: profits would be shared among the staff. David didn't just hire employees, he brought back those who had been cast aside. Former dishwashers became servers, line cooks trained to manage, and every voice was heard in decisions. The dining room was alive with a sense of belonging money couldn't buy. Word spread quickly. Customers came for the food but stayed for the atmosphere. A space where everyone, from the kitchen to the front door, was treated with dignity. In a city full of places built on prestige and exclusion, Shinrai became a quiet revolution. As for Coleman, he resurfaced months later as an assistant manager at a fast food chain, still giving orders, but to teenagers who barely listened. Power gone, reputation gone. David often thought about that night, the simple act of walking someone to a car. He'd lost a job but gained a mission. His story wasn't just about revenge. It was about proving that when prejudice tries to erase you, the best answer is to build something so undeniable it makes the injustice irrelevant. But here's the truth: David's story is rare. For everyone like his, countless others never get a chance to fight back. Racism in the workplace doesn't always end in public humiliation for the guilty. Most times, it ends in silence. So the question is, how many stories like this will it take before we stop treating equality as a favor and start treating it as the bare minimum? What do you think? Was justice truly served? Or was David just one of the lucky few who got a second chance? If this story moved you, hit the like button to help it reach more people. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful true stories that need to be heard.